Hello again everyone, it's me Johnny. I want to thank you for checking out my channel, and today I want to talk to you about the garden within. For me, this is such a fascinating subject. It's something that I learned on my journey, letting my body heal spirit, soul, and body. This message is going to be more on the spiritual side of what I learned, and it's something I just wanted to share with you, and I'm just going to jump right into it. The good book talks about, in the beginning there was a garden, and in this garden was a perfect place. This was a place where the creator of heaven and earth came down and communed with man. This place was a perfect place. It had the perfect pH, levels perfect temperature, and it was a dwelling place where he would commune with his creation. And it was a place that just perfect being. But in this place was the Garden of Pleasure. Was the first place that a C-section was ever performed was in the Garden of Pleasure. The first bone marrow transplant that ever took place was in the Garden of Pleasure. Okay. The first soap opera didn't happen on Telemundo. It happened in the Garden of Pleasure, Garden of Eden. And the first blame game all started in the Garden of Pleasure. The first place that anyone got deported from was from the Garden of Pleasure. Aside from that, the creator of heaven and earth, whatever you believe, was always looking for a dwelling place, a place where he can inhabit, a place where he can commune with you. Not a religion, not a theology. That's not what I'm talking about here. What I'm talking about is a relationship, and it's something I had to learn along my journey to help to have faith that my body can heal if I give it what it wants. My body can heal if I listen to that still small voice and let it guide me. My body can heal if I learn how to give it rest. Okay? My body will heal if I learn how to focus and meditate on the thoughts, okay, that would help my body heal, and the positive affirmations, and understanding how this worked. If it was perfect in the garden, okay, there was a perfect place, then this initially was created to be perfect, a fine-tuned machine, just like it was in the Garden of Eden. The creator of heaven and earth never does anything halfway. It's always perfect. Okay? At least I believe that. And so within this garden there were 4 rivers. And these 4 rivers gave life to the garden, gave life to everything in the garden. It just fed everything in the garden. And I started to study this, and I'm going to jump into it because the good book also says that our body is a dwelling place. Just like he dwelt in the Garden of Eden and wanted to commune with man, his creation, so it is that he longs to commune with us. A one-on-one relationship, not about a religion, it's not about a theology, not about denomination, has nothing to do with that. What I've learned on my journey, it's a whole different level, the way of thinking, a whole nother level of the way of viewing the world. Okay, and these are things that I've learned about from meditating, from spending time alone, from giving my temple, my garden, everything that it needs to help itself heal, spirit, soul, and body. If I would have went the conventional route on this thing, it was just dealing with the physical part. Cut it out and move on. Next. And didn't learn anything. It wasn't until I started to go natural and said I want my body to heal naturally that I really learned, and things started to open up to me. And this is one of the things. Just like there was a dwelling place in the Garden of Eden where the creator of heaven and earth would deal with man, and they had 4 rivers that fed life to the garden, so it is today that the good book calls our body a temple, a dwelling place, a communion place, a place where there's intimacy, a one-on-one relationship, not with somebody that, does this or whatever they're into, whatever they're into. And I don't mean to offend anyone, but I came from that, where there was a distance. Going through what I went through, it's an intimate relationship, a personal relationship that I learned about. And just like it was in the garden where it had 4 rivers that gave life to the rest of the garden, so it is today that the good book calls our body a temple, but also our heart. Let me get it here. Okay, our heart has 4 main chambers that feeds life to the rest of the garden. All right? Once again, our heart has 4 main chambers that feeds life to the rest of the garden. Just like he wanted to dwell and have an intimate relationship in the garden of pleasure, Garden of Eden with man, so it is today. He chooses to have an intimate relationship with us within our hearts. All right? It's a heart issue. Just like it was that the rivers gave life to the garden, so it is that our heart pumps life to the rest of our garden. So when I started to learn this, I was like, wow. So like it was back then, looking for a place to commune, looking for a place to commune. When you have the difference between a regular relationship and, I believe, an intimate relationship. And an intimate relationship, I learned this a long time ago, was intimacy was a saying that I've learned. And in other words, it means see into me. When you're intimate with somebody, see into me, see into my garden, see into my heart. Okay, and the heart is a fascinating place because out of it grows, as a man thinketh where? In his heart. One day I'll do a teaching about that. But right now I'm going to focus on this. Is the four chambers is like a garden, a dwelling place for the Most High. And out of it grows, you can have weeds grow out of it, with bitterness, anger, envy, strife, all the negatives that'll release toxins. It'll flood, your brain up here will release toxins that'll flood your garden with all these toxic emotions, toxic chemicals that your brain will release. Versus when you think of joy, love, peace, which we're told to meditate on. Think on these things. Thinking means to meditate on them. And most believers don't know that, yeah, you're allowed to meditate. You're wired to meditate. And when you start thinking on these things, you release different types of chemicals in your brain automatically. All no matter how you think here. So along this thing, I've learned that from the dwelling place where God wanted to have a communion, an intimate relationship, not with a religion, not with a theology, but a one-on-one relationship to sit down and commune with him and learn how to listen to the still small voice. And that comes through practice with all the chatter in your mind. Most people, they try to do it and there's a lot of chatter. Yeah, that's because your life is like somebody has, like me, I can only refer to me. It's like somebody had, before I got diagnosed, it's like somebody had a hand in their back and the middle of my back is just pushing me through life. I never took time for myself to rest. I never took a day off to rest. I didn't do anything like that. It was just like go, 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 go. That's all I knew. And living, life at a fast pace. And until I got my diagnosis, it's like put on the brakes. And so from there, when you look at the heart, there's another place called a tabernacle. The good book also talks about Emmanuel tabernacled with us. That's what it means. Emmanuel tabernacled with us. And your body's also a temple, but it's also a walking temple, but it's also a garden. Okay, because your heart is fertile ground when you prepare your heart to receive. Okay, just like it was in the good book where it told his creation to guard the garden. So it is, the good book tells us to guard, above all things, guard your heart, for out of it flow the issues. Everything in this dimension starts out, I said before, with the seed. Everything. You're living in this dimension of time that goes like this, but you're also living eternity at the same time. And what are you letting fester in your garden? What's giving life to the rest of your body? You can have a toxic seed planted in your garden with a memory and hold bitterness and fertilize it with bitterness, fertilize it with anger, fertilize it with stress, and all of a sudden you have arthritis because you're releasing like cortisol and all this other stuff. It's just flooding your body constantly like a levee broken, and it's just coming out until you control and you go the other way. Love, peace, and joy, a life of gratitude. Okay, walking what I heard the love walk. Way back when, and now I understand what that thing is walking in love, not letting things tick me off like they used to. And I wanted to share something with you. Also, like it says that your body's a garden or a tabernacle, your body's a temple. And just like the good book says, Emmanuel means God tabernacled with us. In other words, one-on-one relationship, not a religion, not a theology. So from there, it goes into I'm going to tap on the tabernacle of Moses, because in there was a piece of furniture called the mercy seat. And in the mercy seat, it had two cherubims. that sat upon the mercy seat. Okay? And they folded their wings over like this. If you've seen Indiana Jones, the Raiders of the Lost Ark, okay, and it talks about that, okay, the two cherubims folded the wings over like this, and it formed a heart like this. If you look at some pictures, if you Google it, okay, and in the midst of there, the creator of heaven and earth, it said, there will I meet you. In other words, communion, a relationship, a one-on-one relationship, not with a religion, not with a denomination, but faith, believing, okay? And if you look at your heart, right, and this forms like a heart, and I hope I'm doing this right, it comes across right, okay? And up here, a lot of people refer to the top of your heart as the crown of your heart, okay? And if you look at it like this with the two cherubims, okay, like this, and the Creator dwelt in the middle, so it is, where the Creator wants to dwell on the crown of your heart and commune with you in fellowship and feed and nourish your garden spiritually, and just let it glow, let it resonate. These are things that I learned on my journey, is that there's a greater purpose. Everyone has a greater purpose. It's not about going to work and working a 40-hour work week for someone else. It's about discovering your passion, discovering your purpose. What were you created to do? Okay, and these are things that I want to share. These are things that I learned. And when it comes, I've learned that this machine that He's given us, okay, from diet to exercise, everything is in the good book, and it teaches you how to. If you want to get religion out of that book, you'll get religion out of that book. But for me, it's a spiritual book, because the original author of that book is from another dimension. Mind-boggling what I'm into and what I'm learning. And I wanted to share this stuff with you. It's like we're designed to meditate. We're focused to meditate automatically. Okay, you don't need to go to the Himalayas or go somewhere, some retreat, something like that, to go learn how to meditate. You've been doing it all your life. You can't pay a bill, you're going to meditate on it. You're worried about your children, you're going to meditate on it. You have a problem in life, you're going to meditate it. As we as believers are told, you keep on meditating, all of a sudden you start magnifying that thing. You start giving life to it. It hasn't even happened yet. Okay, now you're worried. Now you're flooding your garden with all these toxic chemicals that is just going through there, just rushing through there. And what we're told to is to magnify the Creator, magnify Him, magnify His promises. And when you start to meditate and you close your eyes and you sit still, be still, and know, in order to be still is meditation. It's communion. It's talking. If you believe in the universe and that's what you believe in, that's fine. That's fine. I'm living I'm viewing the life at a whole different level. A second chance at life. I don't waste time getting into what people think or what they believe. I'm just sharing this with an audience that I hope it blesses them. I hope it blesses someone. And when you start looking at that and you look at your brain has, thousands of neurons, and they're like little lights going off in your brain, always going off constantly, because your brain is electric. Okay? We're light beings. And you have to understand it, because if the Creator is light and you're created in the image and the likeness of the Creator, you're light too. And you need electric foods to sustain you. You may be craving a burger, you may be craving ice cream, you may be craving chocolate, you may be craving fried foods. You're craving that. But your temple and your garden is starving for this. This is what it's starving for. This is what it's looking for. Okay? It's not looking for some cheap thrill. It's not looking for that. This is a magnificent machine that I use food as medicine. I believe that food is medicine. It is always there. I wasn't created of medicine. I wasn't created by pills. I wasn't created by chemicals. So my source is not going to come from that. I don't have a problem with medicine. If I had to take a pill to do a quick fix, cool. But not to sustain me, because my source comes from the ground. It's eating live foods. All right, eating live foods, because I'm a live being. All right, but let me get back to this, because I'm getting excited. But when I start meditating and I start focusing and I start having that one thought, just one, silence here in my garden, okay, and it's a symphony, spirit, soul, and body, from my gut, from my heart to my mind, and all the neurons are shooting off. Have you ever went outside on a clear night and looked up at the stars and seen them twinkling and shining and like they're going off on a clear night? It's a picture of what's happening in your brain, up here with all the neurons firing. When the Bible says you're fearfully and wonderfully made, the good book says you're fearfully and wonderfully made, you are fearfully and wonderfully made, born and designed with a purpose, born with a design to prosper, born with so many giftings. I can't do what you do like you do it. You probably can't do what I do just like I do it. We're all individual. No one in this dimension of time has ever walked the earth that's just like you. You're your own individual brand. So when I start functioning and I start walking this way and I start focusing, I start having that love walk, gratitude. Okay, I start pursuing my purpose. Because when I pursue my purpose and I find out what it is, there's peace. Because that's how I'm wired to function. That's all my purpose. I'm wired to do one thing while I'm here in this dimension of time. And being that we're light beings, I was talking to someone earlier today and say we're having an earthly experience. It's that expression they say that we're having an earthly experience. I believe that. But more so is that the way we're created is our cells are translucent. We are so fearfully and wonderfully made. When we walk out in the sun, okay, our body starts creating a hormone. We call it vitamin D. It starts generating by itself. Doesn't need a pill to do that. You don't have to drink milk to do that. You have to walk out in the sun. And that's the way you're designed. And automatically it'll start doing this. Automatically it'll start doing this. And start giving your body, your temple, your garden, electric foods, I like to call them. These foods are life with all the micronutrients, things that you need. Things that you need to survive, to live, because you're a living being and you want to live life to the fullest. Okay? No excuses. If you have, and you're not diagnosed with cancer like I was, it's one of the worst things you can be diagnosed, and that's what they tell you. And why? When you start doing this stuff, not only this, and I don't want to give like the false impression all I did was juice. No, it's a whole lifestyle. Everything has to change. And in my case, I had doctors. I was blessed with doctors. I was blessed with a primary care physician, another doctor, a naturopath doctor that looked after me. Who else? There's a couple doctors. I had people that knew nutrition, vegan lifestyle, plant-based lifestyle that was teaching me. That was part of my healing team, and I tell people this. But here on the spiritual side, when you understand who you are and how you're created, this is what I learned on my journey about the spiritual aspect of how fearfully and wonderfully made we are, how we live, how to, learning how to spend time and love myself. Love myself, because I wasn't dealing with issues. I would just I would hold them in my garden and just let them fester up like weeds, just all over the place. It wasn't until I started to learn how to love myself and learned that there was a creator that loved me more than I could ever know. And that's why I'm here today. I shouldn't be here. According to their statistics, I shouldn't be here. The bike accident that I had should have killed me. Should have landed on my head. Don't remember much of it, but bits and pieces here I could put together what people tell me. But I should have been dead already. But I'm here, living life to the fullest. And I'm going to end it here. These are things that I wanted to share with you. And remember, next time you have a choice. You can choose to feed your body trash and treat your temple or your garden like a trash can. Or you can choose to give your body life, your temple life, your garden life, and live life to the fullest. When you do this, you're going to feel a whole lot better. God bless you. Thanks for listening. Take care.